My name is Jeremy Norman, and in 1979, having run a very successful club called the Embassy Club in Bond Street, I fulfilled my dream of opening London's largest discotheque, which we called an ultra disco, and it was in Charing Cross and became the world-renowned Heaven Club. And Heaven started the craze for high energy music, which transferred itself to the Saint in New York and became a popular dance genre. And remains so to this day. In fact, Heaven type music, high energy music, is still played in the charts right up until the present day, and that's now 21 years later.
Ian Levine came to me. He was looking for an arranger for tracks he was producing with Tyrone Ashley, Evelyn Thomas. We laid down disco backing tracks, and then we put on the orchestral sweetening. That would be the sweeping strings and the brass section and so forth. In time, this led to my being a co-writer with Ian and a co-producer. And one of our first big hits was My Claim to Fame with James Wells. Then we worked with 7th Avenue, Eastbound Expressway, Quasette. Then disco, it was said, had sort of taken a bit of a dive. But Ian stuck to it. He believed that there was a life there. And within a matter of a few years, we came up with the high energy concept. And the first big hit we had, much bigger than we'd ever expect, with 2 million sales, was with Michael Brown, So Many Men, So Little Time. Subsequently, a year later, we worked with Evelyn Thomas, a song that we wrote the bones of in 20 minutes. As I well recall, we had a great hit with High Energy, and that sold 7 million.
At the very early stage, Record Shack was just a hip record store for DJs to come and buy unusual records. Ian Levine, who was so driven and talented, turned this into a multi-million selling record label machine, I would say. I was part of it because I introduced him to Henry Bellolo, who was the guy who created the Village People and who in the early 80s had already the most successful dance label in France. So he basically, with me, financed Record Shack Records. And if I remember right, I think between Alter Kit and High Energy and Break Machine, Ian sold some 12 million records in 1 year, which by any standard is quite phenomenal.
I was fortunate enough in the 80s to be able to pioneer a whole movement in dance music. I'd been quite a successful disco producer in the 70s, had hits in America like 24 Hours a Day by Barbara Pennington and James Wells' My Claim to Fame, records which pioneered what became known as high energy later on. And because America decided disco was dead and they turned their back on it, in 1979 there was a big slump in disco sales and all the record companies stopped putting out disco records. I was left with 3 unfinished LPs that I couldn't sell, and I had to go back to DJing again, which was my first form of making a living. And I was there at the beginning to open Heaven on December the 6th, 1979. But from then until 1983, I longed to get back into making records again. And an old record I made in the 70s by a group called The Elegance, called Chanson d'Elegance, which I'd done with a partner of mine in Los Angeles called Rick Giannatos. That was put out like 3 years after we made it and sort of made a bit of a buzz, not only on the club charts in America, but also on the new, what was known as the gay disco Boys Town market in England.
I was working in the Copacabana at the Earls Court in '78, where the disco started, and then went on to becoming High Energy, and there was only Bangs and Copa at the time that were playing this type of music, and very popular.
I was the first DJ that ever worked at Bangs, which was the very first club that attracted gay people and specialised in high energy music, and from there I moved to Bolts, which was in North London, both clubs we attracted a huge amount of people. On an average night I guess we've got about 2,000 people in each evening, and we also had a lot of famous high energy guest stars appear there from time to time.
In the late 70s, myself and Ian Levine, we used to go to a shop in Hanway Street in the West End, Quicksilver. We used to buy our records there. Then they were finished and we had to start looking for somewhere to buy the records that we wanted. Good dance music. And we hunted around and then we found Groove Records in Greek Street in the West End. They were good, but they weren't fulfilling our needs in the type of music that we wanted. We wanted more high energy style music, even though it wasn't called that then. But they did their best, and then we found another record shop, which was called Record Shack, that was in Berwick Street, which I later became manager of. And we spoke to the managers there and asked them if they could start getting us some of the records we wanted. And they said yes, providing that we spent the money and we were buying them. They didn't mind. We said, well, we owe other people that would want to come and buy them, the customers. We were always being asked for the names of records. And we would send them down there. So then that's where the friendship grew between myself, Jeff and Howard, who were the managers of the shop, who owned it, and Ian Levine.
And we were buying all our records from a record shop in Soho in London called Record Shack in Berwick Street. And they were very keen to get into making records. They just started their own little label, Record Shack Records. And I put a proposition to them. I said, I want to make a classic sort of gay disco anthem, and we'll sell 10,000 records because there's enough of a market. And we planned the whole thing out, that if we made this record on a shoestring, and if we managed to piece it together and on a budget of £2,000, and we could press up 10,000, it would cost us £1 a record, we sell it for £2 a record, so we'd make £10,000 profit, which would split between us, me, Record Shack and myself, and the artist. I went out and found Michael Brown, who was a disco artist that not many people had heard of, but had some cult records in the 70s, and did this song called So Many Men, So Little Time, which was a slogan I saw on a t-shirt in Los Angeles several years earlier, and I always had it in mind one day to make a song called So Many Men, So Little Time. Well, we planned to sell 10,000. I rushed off to the Saint in New York, the other big high energy club at the time, and Robbie Leslie, the DJ there, premiered it at the Easter party on a Saturday night, and the place stopped cold, the lights all went out, and he put the beginning of the record on, and as the sort of boop, 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 intro rose up, the place started screaming and went nuts, and by the Monday morning it was the talk of New York. And we went on to sell 2 million copies. We budgeted for 10,000, but we sold 2 million. Although it wasn't a hit in England, it was #1 in France, and it led to the creation of high energy music.
This fast disco music, when being reviewed by Billboard magazine, was given the label high energy. So the genre was now called high energy, and we decided that we would write a song, High Energy, which fortunately became an anthem for that music.
I decided to make a song called High Energy and found my old Northern Soul artist Evelyn Thomas, who I'd had quite a few Northern Soul and disco records with, and get her in from America, something I couldn't have afforded to do earlier on. The only way we ever got to make the first record, So Many Men, was because my friend JP Iliesco, who owned Trident Studios, actually said, he says, Ian, my friend, if I come in at the middle of the night after you DJ at Heaven, I give you some very cheap time as a favor. So we actually went and we just worked through the night till 8 or 9 in the morning and made this record on a shoestring.
In about '83, Ian was with Record Shack, and they had run out of money, and we made a deal so that they could use the studio in the middle of the night when Ian finished his DJ session at Heaven. So everybody was happy. It was the perfect time for Ian to work. It was downtime for us, and the first big hit to be created in one of his magic nights was Too Many Men, Too Little Time. And that was basically the high energy sound to replace the disco sound of the 70s.
After Record Shack started becoming famous for producing high energy music, other labels tried to cash in, and a lot of them were successful. There was Electricity with Kev Roberts, Proto, Barry Evangeli, Passion with Anne Plaxton, ERC with Marvin Howell, Fanfare with Simon Cowell.
I started Passion Records in 1983 It rapidly became one of the leading high energy labels in the UK alongside Record Shack. We had some fantastic artists at the time who had major successes. People like Angie Gold, Eastbound Expressway, Marsha Raven, The Flirtations, Quasette, Astaire. Lots and lots of fantastic artists who went on to do amazing things worldwide.
I took over the running of Passion Records in 1990 when Anne Plaxton left, and for the last 13 odd years I've basically been running the label. And even though we don't put out so many new records these days, the old repertoire has consistently been popular, particularly abroad, where we've licensed it endlessly to compilations, particularly in the Far East, Japan, Singapore, places like that. And to this day it still amazes me how this music still has a life beyond when the high energy scene really ended at the tail end of the 80s, early 90s.
In the early 80s, I used to come, especially on Tuesday night, to Heaven because it was really the most exciting. It was always packed. People would really jump, literally jump to the music. Obviously, from the reaction of the crowd to certain obscure records that Ian had the talent of discovering before anybody else, he started to perceive what could become a new trend, which would lead him to produce these high energy records, which then led to be copied by tens of producers.
I heard some of the greatest tunes, and you cannot, it didn't matter to me who was the bass player, who the writer was, who the arranger was. I just absolutely came out of that building that night with probably 10 tunes that I knew would take my audience at that time through the roof. I knew that if I took those to my Mecca in the Midlands and I introduced those songs slowly, they would become absolutely standards with my audience. I knew that my crowd on a Monday night, once they heard that record 3 times, that would become an anthem. I knew it would.
Once the high energy boom was in full sway, the person that took it to a new height was Pete Waterman, who became Britain's most successful producer ever. The team of Stock Aitken Waterman had 300 hits, phenomenal amount. And he's always been very gracious and acknowledged that it was the sound that I pioneered. In fact, I was actually at a big awards ceremony in New York, and they had the High Energy Awards, and they gave Pete Waterman a Lifetime Achievement Award, and he stood on stage and he actually said, "This is the sound that Ian Levine created, and I owe it all to him," and I was very, very touched by that. Pete's influences, like my own, were Northern Soul. Pete was always into Northern Soul, and he was a Northern Soul DJ in the early days, and he took that Northern Soul element and made high energy out of it. In fact, if you look at all those Stock Aitken Waterman hits, they all had Northern Soul type song structures, and Pete Waterman is the first to admit it.
To me, people like Ian Levine knew more than I would ever know about Northern Soul, because if anything, they knew the writers, the producers. Where I differed from them was I have always been at the commercial edge of pop music, even when I was a DJ. You cannot, you're deaf if you can't hear the commercial potential of those records, because they were magnificent, even by anybody's standards, even by standard commercial reasons. Those were outstanding records.
When we started Heaven in 1979, we had a team of people which we took from our previous club, the Embassy Club, which would have been, I guess, the London equivalent of Studio 54, the hottest, hippest happening club in London at the time. And I had a vision to create something which would be for a broader audience, a club that held 2,000 people as opposed to 500 people. And in order to launch it, we held a series of parties throughout 1 week, 5 different nights. One night was dedicated particularly to the fashion industry. We had one charity night opening, and I also involved Michael Fish, who had been my front of house greeter at the Embassy Club, who was a famous name in the fashion world. So from his private PR list and my own lists, and also all of those other people involved in Heaven, we managed to get quite a star cast to launch this really very new and innovative club, not only in London, but really throughout Europe. There'd been nothing quite like it before. Totally open, unashamedly gay, upfront, sexy, fun, vibrant, young, and fabulous. And that was the beginning of Heaven and high energy disco.
Jeremy Norman first opened Heaven in 1979, sold it to Richard Branson in, I think it was 1983. And I recently bought it with 2 friends, and we currently run the club in the West End. What we're trying to do is bring it back to its former glory. It was run down a little bit when we took over, but the numbers are up, and things are looking very good. We're getting lots of good comments about Heaven, and we're looking at doing some high energy nights there soon.
Heaven opened in '79, and that changed the whole style of the music for the gay scene. It was something new, refreshing. Everybody wanted to go there because it was the place to be. It was as good as anywhere in New York for the music, the lights, the sound, and the atmosphere. And a lot of the clubs around started going downhill, people-wise, because everyone was waiting to go to Heaven on a Saturday night because it was the place to go.
One of my fondest memories of that era was being a DJ at Heaven nightclub with Ian Levine. And there were really only 2 clubs that mattered at that particular point. There was Heaven in London and the Saint in New York. And one of, I guess, the privileges of working alongside Ian and in that time was that we did travel together to the closing down party of the Saint, which is where we got to see a lot of these high energy acts perform on the last ever night of that legendary nightclub in New York, and that was just an incredible memory.
It's true to say that Heaven was at the epicentre of high energy music, particularly when it started in the 80s in the UK. And I think that Heaven really represented in the UK very much what the Saint was to the New York scene. Obviously Ian Levine was crucial to the whole thing. He produced the music, he played it, he championed the sound, and yes, it's difficult to really minimise the impact that the club had.
High energy certainly has a place in Heaven today, even although it's evolved from what it was in 1983. I think the basis of all music played in gay clubs comes from high energy, which of course comes from Motown, Northern Soul influences. In fact, in the private members bar, we still play high energy today, especially on a Monday when the theme is more poppy rather than the harder dance we play at the weekends, and people love it.
You are the heaven I need. If I could only succeed. You are the heaven I'm building my dreams upon. My world is just begun. You are the heaven I need. If I could only succeed. You are the heaven I'm building.
20 years later, looking back at it all those wonderful high energy hits like Michael Brown, So Many Men, So Little Time, Evelyn Thomas, High Energy, 7th Avenue, Love's Gone Mad, all the Barbara Pennington stuff, they're all here on one glorious DVD in their full video glory for you to look back at a wonderful era. Remember those days when you danced all night to the sounds of So Many Men and Searching by Hazeldean and High Energy? Well, they're back again. Here they are, High Energy, the DVD.
One of the defining moments in the whole high energy movement was the release of High Energy by Evelyn Thomas. It was a huge hit and really established energy music as one of the main genres of dance music at the time.
High Energy by Evelyn Thomas became the anthem for high energy music. It was commercial, good vocals, good singer. Ian brought her over from America.
I was travelling with Michael Brown in the US, and I was asked to go and see Evelyn Thomas sing. When I turned up, she was in the basement of a small pizza restaurant, singing with her husband in attendance, and she won me over. I came back to the UK and said to Jeff that she was definitely the woman to sing the track.
I worked with computers as early as '75. By the time I owned Trident, we had one of the two studios which was completely dedicated to electronic music. And I remember that Hans Zimmer was now the #1 composer in Hollywood with the Gladiator and Lion King and some other movies that I'd forgotten, but was the programmer making all the sounds on these computers. And it was really where I came from. And when I opened the door and I heard what they were doing, I took Ian aside and I said, you know, you have a huge hit. This is going to be #1.
For our production of Evelyn Thomas High Energy, I brought in Hans Zimmer, who was at that time an extremely proficient programmer on electronic musical instruments. Hans had recently acquired a Fairlight, which was a computer musical instrument which had many samples of drums, bass and all so forth. Not a lot of people know that that's where Hans was 20 years ago or so. Hans, of course, has since gone on to write film scores for Rain Man, Lion King, Gladiator. He's an Oscar winner, as you know. Recently, in fact, I worked with him on the film Pearl Harbor. So it's been nice that we've kept the connection going all those years.
Evelyn Thomas's High Energy wasn't the first big high energy hit, it was the second. Michael Brown's So Many Men, So Little Time had sold 2 million and led to me being able to do the song High Energy by finding an artist, Evelyn Thomas, who had been my protege, and get her in after not working with her for a few years and get her to make this record, which I wrote for her with Fear the Trench, specifically about lifting you up, you know, because she had high swoops in her voice and I wanted to give something that would be an anthem to the music. Usually, when you make a record in the studio, you kind of feel good about it, but once in a blue moon, you know you've got a hit. We wrote the song in an hour, which was very quick for us. We made the whole track in a day, programmed by Hans Zimmer, who went on to win Oscars for The Lion King and Gladiator and loads and loads of other films. And just a lot of magic came together in one day with a synth riff that established high energy music for the next 20 years. And I'm very proud of it, and it went on to sell 7 million records and it made my career.
High Energy by Evelyn Thomas was an instant floor filler, an amazing instant floor filler. As soon as that beat came in, you could see the people rush to the floor. Just amazing.
High energy, your love is lifting me. Oh, high energy, your love is lifting me, lifting me high. It was only last week that we first met when I was walking down the street. You came up from behind me and I knew that our eyes were gonna meet. That's when I fell into your arms. Imagine my surprise. I thought this only happened in fairy tales. Love hit me right between the eyes. Oh yeah. didn't last. It's a blessing in disguise. Every time you're touching me, it gives me such a thrill. When I look deep into your eyes, my heart just can't keep still. Oh no, high energy. Your love is lifting me. Woo, woo, high energy. Yeah, your love is lifting me, lifting me so all the gold that's in Fort Knox couldn't buy this happiness. With your love, I don't need money, I don't need success. I became a victim of a sudden love attack, yeah. It happened in the blink of an eye, and there's no holding back. Oh, high energy, yeah. Your love is lifting me. Woo, 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 woo. High energy, ooh yeah. Your love is lifting me, lifting me high.
I remember listening to Michael Brown, So Many Men, So Little Time, and being staggered by the cheek of it, but thinking, what a great record, I wish I'd released that.
So Many Men, So Little Time, we had a very limited budget for, 2,000 total. So we had to record at Trident Studios in downtime, in the middle of the night, you know, cheap rates. We did everything ourselves in terms of the playing of the instruments, the programming of the instruments. Believe it or not, my daughter and I sang all the backing vocals. We thought it might sell 10, 20,000 copies. We had no idea it was going to go on to sell 2 million copies.
Ian Levine had produced Michael Brown, So Many Men, So Little Time, which I was convinced should be a hit because of that party ambience and that spontaneous energy. And as it didn't seem to capture the English public, I thought that because all of that electronic music started in Europe, it would be normal for it to work on the continent.
It was the record that came out in England, sold 30,000 records in the UK without ever charting, and yet sold 2 million everywhere else, and was #1 in France, #1 on the American dance charts, and in fact was the most played record on the radio the summer of 1983. It created a music form, it created an anthem, and I will be forever grateful.
Michael did a PA at Studio One in Los Angeles, which was the largest gay club there at the time. I think it was on the Friday night, and on the Saturday we were shooting the video of So Many Men. At the end of the performance, she took it upon herself, without saying anything to me, to say if anybody wanted to be in the video, to come and see me afterwards and drag me up on stage. I was inundated after that by so many men wanting to be in the video. It was filmed the following day at a gym on Santa Monica Boulevard, and was on the mezzanine floor. And the thing that I remember quite clearly about this was that on the lower part of the mezzanine there were 50 and 60-year-old women trying to do aerobics and complaining about the noise and the smoke that we were pumping out upstairs. It was really quite an experience.
to happen more and more. I love those men, one and all. Each new one I meet makes my heart beat fast when I see them so strong and tall. So little time, how can I lose? So little time, how can I choose? They tell me I'm up to no good. I should just settle down. But I don't wanna stay with just one man. I wanna sample what's around. Feels like heaven every night, being here with someone new. Physical thrill, a beautiful smile, and wonderful muscles too. How can I lose? So many souls in me. How can I choose? So really, who cares about love? Who wants that freedom taken away? For 52 weeks of every year, there's a new man every day. It's too hard a choice to make up my mind. So many men turn on my light. Don't want true love, say I don't want brains. Just give me their bodies tonight. So many how can I lose? So many
Another successful high energy record of the time was Love's Gone Mad by Seventh Avenue. Probably looking back now, they were the first, I would think, boy band of the time. Very sexy image, good dancers, which led the way to boy bands that followed them.
When I started having high energy hits with Record Shack, I decided to reform Seventh Avenue without a proper lineup as a sort of faceless group, and we made a song called I Hear Thunder, which was so big at the Saint in New York they demanded a group to appear, so we had to form a group. So we put the group together, and then once we got them singing properly on the records and created a proper act, we decided to make another anthem for the high energy market.
America requested to have a real act because it's never been possible in America to promote just a record without a face. So Ian created at that point what I would say was probably the first real boy band with all the teens appeal and the sexiness and the great amount of fun coming out of them, but also really a fantastic sense of movement and rhythm, which made Seventh Avenue probably one of the cult bands for people into dance music.
Back in the 70s, Ian and I had produced an album with Seventh Avenue. Subsequently, that band went by the wayside. I think they all went back to their day jobs. But Ian had hung on to these names. He liked these names, Seventh Avenue, Eastbound Expressway, Croisette. And later on, then after Evelyn Thomas and Michael Brown, we worked again with Seventh Avenue. But we didn't have a group now, so we kind of had to put a group together.
Ian gave the group the name Seventh Avenue because he'd used that group on a previous album in the 70s, which was successful in the US. After I Hear Thunder, the Saint were crying out for them to appear at the Saint for the Easter weekend of 1984. Ian got together with Fee Trench again and wrote Love's Gone Mad. Love's Gone Mad was bigger than anything we'd experienced previously, with the possible exception of High Energy, and the band that Ian formed were the hottest guys that were in heaven at the time, and flew them out to New York, to the Saint, to do that party at the Easter weekend, which was a huge success.
Barbara Pennington gave me my first American hit with the 24 Hours a Day, which was a huge disco anthem in the 70s. And once Evelyn Thomas had found her feet and established herself at Record Shack, I persuaded them to let Barbara come over from America and record for them as well. Barbara's first couple of outings were strong high energy songs like All American Boy, but she herself wanted to do more mid-tempo soul records, but Record Shack was a high energy label, so we compromised. We made slower records with a more soulful edge, but with a high energy appeal as well. We combined the two markets. And Fan the Flame was the pinnacle of all this. It was based on the old sort of Motown riff of Junior Walker's Walk in the Night, without sounding too much like it, just as an influence. And it crossed over the game market, the high energy market, became a pop hit, but it also hit the soul market. Tony Blackburn on Radio London championed it, made it into a pop hit. It was a wonderful record. Record Shack actually spent a lot of money on the video, more than they'd ever spent on any video up to that date. And it still stands the test of time today because it's got real live instruments on it, as opposed to just synthesizers. And I think that makes it sound fresher now, 20 years later than a lot of the other Record Shack stuff.
Barbara Pennington was unhappy recording our high energy type tracks with the synthesized backing. She was much more into doing the sort of medium, even slow, slinky numbers. Ian had the idea of doing something like Junior Walker's Walk in the Night. We ended up with a song called Fan the Flame. And what distinguishes this from our previous work is that it was largely live instruments, and it had a doo-wop backing vocal, and it was really quite a departure for us.
As well as Evelyn Thomas in the 70s, Ian had another hit with an artist called Barbara Pennington called 24 Hours a Day. Again, because of tight budget restraints at Record Shack, when Ian wanted to record Barbara, he wasn't allowed to bring her over, put her in a hotel, etc. But Record Shack decided that yes, they'd give it a punt, but they'd only pay for the airfare. Barbara ended up staying with me, and we had a great time at my little flat in Kingsbury. She was as entertaining in the flat as she is on stage. And the first release was a funkier version of High Energy called Fan the Flame. Carol Gianni was my first experience of any high energy performer. I love her because she's absolutely crazy. She was a friend of mine even before I'd met Ian Levine or Michael Brown or Record Shack or anybody else. Travelling around in Birmingham in an old beat-up transit van, she went to Canada and recorded with George Cucuzella and Joe LaGreca a track called Hit and Run Lover, which was huge.
Great vocals, good song, and instant records. You just knew it was going to be a hit. And we sold buckets of it. All the clubs wanted it, and Carol came over from Canada and was gigging all clubs, and it became bigger records. They did remixes of it, and so it just prolonged the life of the records, which went on for ages, and still is now played in clubs that like GAY that do the old high energy stuff.
Carol Gianni was a mad African woman from Nigeria who went over to Canada and had a huge disco hit with Hit and Run Lover. Her real name was Uchenna Ikejiani. She then became an absolute diva favourite in England and moved over to here, living in Birmingham. I think she now lives in Colchester. She really established herself with this one record, produced out of Canada in the early 1980s. It went on to become a disco anthem everywhere. Hit and Run Lover was Carol Gianni's anthem.
One of the biggest successes we ever had on the Passion label was Eat You Up by Angie Gold. I'd known Angie for a short while. She became a fantastically dear friend to me, and when we got the record we thought, yeah, perfect, could do very well, but we were staggered by the success it achieved internationally, but particularly so in Japan, where it was an enormous hit. And funnily enough, the song itself has gone on to become a massive favourite in karaoke bars and is still played to this day. And you only have to mention it in Japan and everybody knows what you're talking about. Angie has probably sung that tune more times than she cares to remember now. But it's very dear to me because I think it really kick-started Passion as one of the leading labels of the time.
Record Shack was the first label to really specialise in high energy. Shortly on its heels came Passion Records, run by Anne Plaxton for her boss Les McCutcheon. When she left Passion, my dear friend Ralph T, who used to work for me, took it over, so it's had a sort of in-house history of being run by people that cared about high energy music. Probably their biggest record, and a massive, massive pop hit in Japan, was a Manchester diva called Angie Gold, who, although she was white, had an amazingly black voice. And she made this record called Eat You Up, which, although quite criticised at the time for borrowing melodically a little bit of Killing Me Softly with his song, I think it became another instant floor feel at heaven. It was one of those records that we all relied on. Every time the floor would lull slightly, we'd mix it in because we knew that they would come running on the floor from every corner. And it was nice to find her again after a few years, and she's living in the Canary Islands now, and she flew back specially just to make this video.
Another classic, Angie Gold, Eat You Up. It was on Passion label. Good catchy song, good vocals, nice melody. But most of all, it was a catchy song that everybody could sing along with it. You knew the song after the first chorus. You could just sing along with it even though you didn't know the words.
Young Hearts Run Free, Candy Staton, a great crossover record that worked in all discos, be they gay or straight. It was a guaranteed floor filler, not a high energy record as such, but certainly worked everywhere.
Ian Levine introduced me to a guy called Simon Napier Bell, who was one of the former managers of Wham and took them through their most successful period with CBS. Simon introduced me to Candy Staton, who is a lovely lady. She now sings gospel in the US, but of course her biggest hit was Young Hearts Run Free. I was fortunate enough to be able to record for my own company a version of Young Hearts Run Free. Ian Levine produced it, and she did this video for me.
We had the privilege a few years ago of trying to recreate one of the classic records of all time, Young Hearts Run Free by Candy Staton. The challenge was to try and recreate that magical sound of the original record, and I think we got very, very close. And she was a joy to work with. She was fantastic. Her voice was still there, she still sounded exciting, and she was a lovely lady.
High energy music, although really created as a music form in 1983 and surviving for the following 20 years, really was just an extension of classic disco using more electronic sounds. It borrowed from records like the early Tramps records and like Candy Staton, Young Hearts Run Free. That was one of the seminal disco records that first came out that everybody loved it. Soul lovers, pop lovers, disco lovers. It just hit every market. And when we were doing party nights at Heaven, we were in the middle of the night throwing a record like Young Hearts Run Free or the Tavares Don't Take Away the Music just to create this lovely disco buzz and have everybody running onto the floor. So if any record was to be a pioneer of what became known as high energy record, it was this wonderful classic by Candy Staton.
Sharing this one and only life, ending up just another lost and lonely wife. You'll count up the years and they will be filled with tears. Love only breaks up to start over again. You'll get the babies, but you won't have your man, while he's busy loving every woman that he can. Say I'm gonna leave 100 times a day. It's easier said than done when you just can't break away. Just can't break away. Oh, young hearts, run free and never be hung up like my man and me. My man. Oh, young hearts, to yourself be true. It's high time now, just one crack at life. Who wants to live it in trouble and strife? My mind must be free to learn all I can about me. I'm gonna love me for the rest of my days. Encourage the babies every time they say self-preservation is what's really going on today. I say I'm gonna turn loose 100 times a day, but how can I turn loose when you just can't break away? Just can't break away. Oh, young hearts, run free and never be hung up like my man and me. My man. Oh, young hearts, to yourself be true. Don't be
Hazel Dean, Searching. First time I heard this record was when Hazel actually came to Bolts in Haringey, North London, and I was knocked out with it straight away. Such an energetic woman and an amazing voice. She'd done middle of the road stuff up until Searching, and then she came out of a shell and she blossomed like a flower. Absolutely amazing record, Searching.
Hazel Dean was probably the first record to get what is now a normal treatment, which is be recorded in one studio, mixed in another studio, mixed sometimes by other engineers on the other side of the world. You keep the vocals, change the drums, and I think that Ian was probably one of the first people to practice this and successfully came to Trident to reproduce rather than remix the Hazel Dean record, changing all the drums on it and making it a number, I can't remember if it was 5 or 6, but it was a top 10 hit anyway.
I took this and I completely replaced all the drums, recorded new drums for it, changed the sounds of the record and made a whole different record out of it. So it was the first ever, not just a remix, but remix and additional production, meaning that there was more production involved than just mixing the record as it was. Thank God the record went on to be a major hit. It went in the charts at number 6, I think it went higher than that. It was a huge crossover record all over the world, and in fact it came out in America on the same label as So Many Men. They were very quick hits in quick succession of each other. Hazel went on then to become the protege of Stock Aitken Waterman, and the whole high energy pop boom was born, which led to Kylie Minogue and Jason Donovan and all those other people taking the music to a huge pop level right through the rest of the 80s. But certainly after So Many Men, the big high energy crossover record, the big pop crossover. In fact, because So Many Men didn't cross over pop in England, I think Searching would have been the first real crossover high energy record in England.
During my travels in America with Michael Brown, another artist on TSR Records became a great friend of mine. Our paths used to cross because she sang high energy as well, and her song was Searching.
And seeking, I'm never sleeping. I've got to find me a man. I want no disguises, just surprises. Someone who I'll understand. I don't need a guy who'll spend only one night, then tell me he's got no more time. I'm looking for someone to share my life. I better move on down the line. Excite me, but don't invite me. They don't even notice, it seems. Oh, I'm always waiting, anticipating. I long for the man of my dreams. He needn't be handsome, have fortune or fame. He just gotta be sweet and kind. But there's so many wanting or needing the same. I gotta move on down the line. Looking for love all the time I can.
Another record I used to play was Action by Pearly Gates, who originally featured in the 60s pop group The Flirtations and went on to make some good dance records as well.
Once high energy was big news, everybody wanted to do it. My old friend Pearly Gates, who I'd actually produced in the 70s, she'd been the lead singer of The Flirtations and then gone solo. She teamed up with George Hargreaves for a label called Funking Marvellous, and they brought out this amazing record called Action, which is just one of those good time, you know, I'm looking for action, physical satisfaction, that kind of stuff. Everybody was dancing all night to these melodies they wanted to hear about going home with a man and getting it off, and just the usual sort of raunchy sexual lyrics sung by a black female American singer. And Pearly Gates was a classic black female American singer, and she did a classic job.
A group that a lot of clubs still play today is a group called the Tramps, which were from the 70s, and one of their biggest hits was Hold Back the Night. We recreated that. That's another classic record which was great fun to try and do.
Given that High Energy was an extension of 70s disco, one of the most important groups at that time were the Tramps. When you think of what they did on Saturday Night Fever with Burn Baby Burn, and the fact they were involved with Tom Moulton, who mixed some of their early records. And so the Tramps were basically one of the pioneering groups on the High Energy scene.
Without disco, there would have been no High Energy. The reason High Energy came into being was that no one was making disco records anymore, and we couldn't afford to make them with 50-piece string sections, so we had to make them with electronics. So all High Energy was an electronified version of disco. And if you go back to the disco market, the group that pioneered it all, that really were the mainstay of the disco market, were the Tramps. From Hold Back the Night, which was their first big Philly hit, and Zing Went the Strings of My Heart, onto the glory days of Saturday Night Fever, to records like Disco Inferno, and of course the glorious disco anthem, That's Where the Happy People Go, which was adopted by America in the 70s as a record that almost teamed up at the same time with gay liberation, the after Stonewall, people coming together and having their own clubs they could dance in. The Tramps epitomised it all. So Hold Back the Night, along with Candy Statton's Young Hearts Run Free, are probably the two records that pioneered the whole High Energy boom.
Some records stand the test of time. Records like Young Hearts Run Free by Candy Statton and Hold Back the Night by the Tramps, both crossover records which worked in all clubs, be they gay or be they straight, always guaranteed floor fillers.
I wanna dream.
Ian Anthony Stevens came to see me one day with a new song he'd written called Catch Me I'm Falling in Love. He had a new artist in mind to do the vocal on it, a lady called Marsha Raven. Marsha went on to do the track for us. It was a major success and launched her internationally. I had a couple of follow-up releases with her, and latterly I know that she's made a career out of doing impersonations of Tina Turner very well, I believe, but she also cut a record on Nightmare called That Jealous Sensation.
When Ian Levine left Record Shack, he formed his own label called Nightmare Records. 1987 was a great year for Nightmare, which culminated towards the end of the year with a big show at Heaven with all the Nightmare artists called Nightmare on Villiers Street. One of the records that was performed there was called That Jealous Sensation, and it's sung by Marsha Raven.
Marsha Raven came from Detroit, best known on the circuit for doing impersonations of Tina Turner, and then was spotted and put out some tracks of her own name, like I Like Plastic, went on to Passion with Catch Me, Stranger in Disguise for Record Shack, and then later for Nightmare she did Jealous Sensation.
Marsha Raven was a young black singer from Detroit who came over to live in England and made her living performing a sort of mock Tina Turner stage show. She would go out to all the clubs dressed as Tina Turner and do all the Tina Turner songs. She then had a big energy hit on Red Bus called I Like Plastic and got signed by Passion Records. My dear friend Ann Plaxton, who signed her up, another huge high energy hit with Catch Me I'm Falling in Love, which was one of those big Heaven floor fillers at the time. We then signed her to Record Shack, did a great song called Stranger in Disguise on Record Shack. And then when I formed my own label, Nightmare Records, she moved over to that, and we did another great record, it was very popular, called That Jealous Sensation, and caught her actually performing it at Heaven on the special night we did called The Nightmare on Villiers Street. I managed to get it down on video for posterity.
Yourself, thinking that I'm just gonna be hanging around. You should know by now that a girl like me needs a real man around. You're just like a snake in the grass. Without a warning, I feel your bite. You think that I'll break like glass. You've never been treating me right. I'm gonna start staying out all night and enjoying the good life at last. Don't waste your time starting a fight. My submission is a thing of the past. alibis and your women and your whatevers. You know, I'm gonna find a real man, a true man, a good man, just for me.
A friend of mine called Paul Tams, who's been around on the energy scene for probably as long as I have, made me laugh back in the 80s when he made his own record under the name Sidewalk called Take Away the Rain.
I had a dear friend at the time during the high energy era called Paul Tams, who used to work for me. He was like the label manager for Motor City Records for a while and went to Detroit and organised all the recording sessions. And he wanted to have his own high energy group at the time. So he got together with his friend Sarah Lee, who used to be a secretary in the Doctor Who office for the BBC. And together they made this record by Sidewalk called Take Away the Rain. And he was so determined to cross it over that he paid for his own video. He rushed out with a camera crew and went to an airfield somewhere east of London, and with the planes taking off and everything against the control tower, actually managed to make a rather tacky looking video of this song called Take Away the Rain, which actually makes me laugh when I look back on it now. It's kind of cheap and cheesy, but kind of very fun for the period. Good on you, Paul. Seventh Avenue pioneered the whole boy band thing, and so many groups followed. like Take That and East 17 and Bad Boys Inc. and Boyzone. I decided to be a bit different when that whole boy band thing started and put a group together that was boys and girls mixed, called Optimistic, way before Steps had ever even been heard of. The thing about Optimistic is they were proper singers and they had a real soulful edge, and I wanted to put together a real act that could actually really sing rather than just be a bunch of sort of studio puppets, and I was very pleased with them. We spent a lot of time and money grooming them, and I was very pleased with the results, and I think that although not really high energy, it still kind of belongs on this compilation. There's a wonderful song we did, an old Freddie Scott song that Carole King wrote for him back in the 60s called Hey Girl, and working with Billy Griffin from the Miracles to get the backing vocal sounds I wanted, we updated it. And it's kind of mid-tempo, the sort of high energy that we call sleaze music that was played late in the morning at the Saint and stuff. It kind of fits. I'm very proud of it, Optimistic and Hey Girl.
Another example of Ian's recycling of his groups from the 1970s was Croisette. we did a track called Landslide with Tracy Ackerman singing the lead vocal. Landslide was based on a song that Ian and I had previously done called There's No Cure for Me, which for whatever reason we didn't get a release on. But Ian had liked the song so much, we reworked it as Landslide.
I'd been keen to make a record for a long time with my good friend Ian Levine, who'd had so much success with Record Shack. Eventually, I tempted him into working with Tracy Ackerman, who was a very well-known session singer of the time, had a fantastic voice and still does. The record was Landslide, and originally it was planned to be a Tracy Ackerman release, but at the last minute, Tracy, whose heart really lay more in soul and funk, decided she didn't want to be the name on the release. So we decided to put it out by Quasette, who were a band that Ian had had success with back in the 70s.
During the golden disco of the 70s, I formed a group called Quasette for AVI Records in America, and we had some huge disco hits like Keep It On Ice and Under Hypnosis. The group sort of lapsed, and then I was working with Record Shack for several years, and we had a bit of a fallout, and I decided to go my own way and form my own company. I had to sit out my contract until it was finished at the end of 1985. So the first thing I did in January '86 was rush in for Ann Plaxton at Passion Records, who begged me to make a record for them, and until that point I hadn't been able to. So come January '86, I rushed into their studio in Chertsey and made this record called Landslide for Tracy Ackerman, who was a well-known session singer who'd been singing with Shack Attack. Tracy loved it, but decided that she wanted to be making R&B and funk, and she didn't want to have a name on a record that was high energy. So she said, look, it's fine, put it out, but don't put it out as Tracy Ackerman. So Anne said, what shall we call it? So of course I said, yeah, well, I had a great group called Quasette, let's just call it Quasette. So Quasette was reborn. The problem is that there was no Quasette. It wanted to become a massive hit, was one of the biggest high energy anthems, #1 on Record Mirror's new high energy chart. It came out in America on Achievement Records. Everybody wanted to see Quasette, and there wasn't a group, so we had to go and find one. So Paul Savory to the rescue, went out and got some friends of his together, and we actually formed a group called Quasette, put them out on the road, and we had a proper group performing and making lots more records after that.
I went down to a couple of my friends at Heaven and said, do you fancy doing this on stage for the Nightmare on Villiers Street night? They brought along a couple of friends of theirs. They were choreographed by a friend of Ian's, and they became Quasette from that moment on. Here they are doing Landslide, again from the Nightmare of Villiers Street night.
Landslide, the whole world's falling down around me, yeah. Landslide, you got me, and you're heading for victory.
Daryl Pandy became another big diva of the gay scene because he was outrageous, massively funny, great voice singer. He was on Love Can't Turn Around originally. Ian thought with great vocals and decided to do a track with him called Animal Magnetism.
There was a period in the 80s where high energy was at its peak, but there was this new form of Chicago house music coming along on the scene as well. And one of the pioneers on that scene was Steve Silk Hurley and Farley Jack Master Funk. And one of the records they collaborated on was a Farley Jack Master Funk record called Love Can't Turn Around, featuring this incredible huge singer called Daryl Pandy. And at the New Music Seminar that particular year, Daryl Pandy was the larger-than-life character who was around at that particular time. And so Ian thought it was a good time, as I was working with him at that particular moment, I seem to remember, he thought, he is the artist I really need to get on Nightmare Records, which was his high energy label at the time. And so he cut this record called Animal Magnetism, which, even though the record wasn't as commercially successful as Love Can't Turn Around, it created this legend in one line of the song, which was called Stick Me With a Fork. And no one could believe that there could be this track with a vocal in it that says stick me like a fork, and everyone just always remembers that line.
Daryl Pandy was utterly outrageous, larger than life. He was the voice on Farley Jack Master Funk's Love Can't Turn Around, which was one of those records, Farley Jack Master Funk with Marshall Jefferson featuring Daryl Pandy. It was one of those names we kind of, when we made the first ever UK house record, we sort of did a take-up on it. But I wanted to work with Daryl himself. It was like a drag queen version of Patti LaBelle, if anything. I mean, he was as camp as they come, like a really outrageous character. I wanted a lot of money for recording, but it was worth it at the time because he was in the charts and had such a big hit. He went on Top of the Pops to perform Love Can't Turn Around, and the switchboard was flooded with complaints because he lay on the floor, rolling around, kicked his shoes off into the air and everything, and people were just grossed out by it, but I thought it was hysterically funny. Anyway, we put out Animal Magnetism, and it was one of the early records on Nightmare Records, and although it never actually went pop, it sold enough. I mean, I think it sold 15,000 in the first week. These days, if you do 15,000 in the first week, you're going to be top 5. It's amazing that we could sell those quantities back then and not actually chart, because we certainly sold some records and had some success.
I remember having to go to Nottingham to collect Daryl, where he was appearing up there. He was always a bit of a handful, shall we say. And I had to feed him Kentucky Fried Chicken all the way to the studio, where he went in, sang the record in about 5 minutes, left and wanted to be fed Kentucky Fried Chicken all the way back to Nottingham again. That was Animal Magnetism.
Slowly and surely, I'm going inside.
Record Shack had sold 12 million records in a one-year period between 1983 and 1984. They'd done 2 million with So Many Men So Little Time, 7 million with High Energy, and probably another 3 or 4 million assorted others, including the stuff they picked up from France that I picked up off them from Henry Bololo. They had 2 hits with Break Machine. One was number 2, one was number 9. They were doing very, very well. Jeff Weston decided he wanted to branch more into pop, and he found the singer of Tight Fit, Steve Grant. Tight Fit had had 2 #1 hits with Jive Records, like The Lion Sleeps Tonight, Fantasy Island, and Jeff wanted to go pop. So my brief was go in the studio, make a pop record with Steve Grant. Well, I didn't want to make a complete pop record, so we made a fast, lots of energy, finger snappy, like Billy Joel's Tell Her About It and like Hall & Oates' Maneater, those kind of things. So it had a lot of energy in it as well. They spent a fortune on the video, they put a lot of money into it, then chickened out at the last minute because they'd spent so much money. When they realised how much they'd have to spend marketing it, they kind of backed off, and I don't really know what went wrong, but it was still a fun record at the time.
Another one that Record Shack tried to get off the ground was a record by Steve Grant called Run for Cover. Good looking guy, 6 foot odd, model features, was the lead singer with bands called Tight Fit, which was #1 hit with The Lion Sleeps Tonight. Didn't quite make it, but still sold a lot, and his touring did him well because a lot of people thought he was cute.
Steve Grant was a friend of mine. I'd known him when he was with the Ballet Rambert, long before even he went into Tight Fit, where he'd had hits with The Lion Sleeps Tonight, Fantasy Island, and etc. When he left Tight Fit and the group broke up, he came to Record Shack. Ian wrote a record especially for him called Run for Cover. I was particularly pleased that Ian has told me that he's fixed the video because it always had continuity problems to do with a bunch of flowers, and where the flowers were cut off, they were there one minute, not there the next, and back again later on. But Steve's a great personality, a real good friend of mine. I still see him, and I'm sure he'd be happy that this has been finally fixed.
Starts out feeling right. My life hasn't
I owe an awful lot to Barbara Pennington's 24 Hours a Day. When I first was making Northern Soul records, I went to Chicago to audition for artists, and I found Evelyn Thomas, LJ Johnson and Barbara Pennington. Straight off in England, Evelyn and LJ had hits and were number 24 and 25 in the charts on the same week. Barbara Pennington never had a hit at first, but went on to have a bigger hit in America than any of them in 1976 when we recorded a disco anthem called 24 Hours a Day, which didn't actually get released in America until 77 on United Artists and went to number 1 on the Billboard's disco charts and stayed there for 7 weeks. One of the greatest records ever produced, and I'm still remembered in America for making it to this day. In the year 2000, it was Heaven's 21st birthday party. As I was the person in charge of the music policy when we opened it in December 1979, 21 years later, I was called back and asked to DJ at their 21st birthday party. And I decided if I was going to do that, I needed something special. So, the current high energy market at that time was making lots of disco versions of rock or pop songs, and I decided why not take a classic like Robbie Williams' Angels and make it into a female diva, high energy, glorious anthem. So I did. I made this record specifically for that party night with not going to release it. Then Anne Plaxton heard it, and she was running Rumour Records. She phoned me up, and because of course I had a big history with her when she was at Passion. She phoned me and said, "This record's so fabulous, I want to put it out." So I let her put it out on an album, and apparently it helped the album called Mad About the Boy sell phenomenally well. So we made it just for party night and ended up having a high energy hit with it.
Ian Levine was going to do a 21st birthday celebration for Heaven, and we wanted to do something to celebrate that. And As Ian had worked with Robbie Williams in the Take That days, we thought it'd be fun to do a Robbie Williams track. So we decided to do Angels, and we've got a band called Rimini together and recorded a high energy version of it, and I think it worked really well. It's an exciting record.
One of the trends on the high energy scene was to take a very popular pop, rock, ballad or hit and do a high energy version that would appeal to the high energy scene. And I remember when Heaven nightclub had its 21st anniversary night, Ian Levine cut a very special high energy version of Robbie Williams' Angels by Rimini just for the night, and it was actually played on that particular night, and it was just an incredible buzz.
sit and wait. Does an angel contemplate my fate? And do they know the places where we go when we're gray and old? 'Cause I've been told I'm feeling weak and my pain walks down a one-way street. I look above and I know I'll always be blessed with love. And as the feeling grows, brings flesh into my bones. When love is dead, I'm loving angels instead. And through it all, she offers me protection, a lot of love and affection. Whether I'm right or wrong, and down the waterfall.
High Energy was obviously the anthem for high energy music. When Eurobeat took over, Ian decided that he wanted to make another record that was the anthem for Eurobeat. So made You're a Beat with Eastbound Expressway.
How do you repeat a successful record like High Energy? The music was called High Energy, so we made a song called High Energy. I wanted to do it again. We've been changing the name of the music. People were calling it Eurobeat. This was 2 years later in 1986, and we needed something fresh. High energy was still high energy, but we needed to call it something else. So I came up with this incredible idea, Eurobeat. I kept thinking, how can I get the word Eurobeat into a title? Then it came through the flash of inspiration, Your Beat. So we came up with these incredible lyrics, you're a beat, you're a rhythm in my feet, and I'm dancing with them, a bit like the old Northern Soul kind of lyrics. And the group was born. Eastbound Expressway had actually been another sort of group I'd had in the 70s that had never really developed, but we thought these three fabulous girls. You're a Beat was a hit all over Europe, again not a pop hit in England, but sold phenomenally well, and was snapped up again by the ever-astute Anne Plaxton, who was trying to make Passion the next Record Shack.
After the release of Landslide, I was keen to do another record with Ian, and the first project that came along was You're a Beat by Eastbound Expressway. You're a Beat, in case anyone hasn't twigged, was a play on the words Eurobeat. Because though the music was largely known as high energy, a lot of people internationally were beginning to christen it Eurobeat. So we thought it would be rather a nice idea to actually have a defining song, much as High Energy by Evelyn Thomas had been, and the Eastbound Expressway release, You're a Beat, became that track.
And I'm dancing with them.
Carol Gianni, who'd become famous for Hit and Run Lover, then was discovered in America by Paul Savey, who came out raving about her to Jeff and Howard at Record Shack and to me, and so we'd signed her to Record Shack at the time. Then Record Shack had closed down, and I'd signed her to MCA and made a couple of records with her for MCA, and then one of the tracks actually was this song, Turning My Back and Walking Away, which they put the first single out on MCA, Such a Joy Honey, and then decided that, I think the managing director had left and it all changed. So as they hadn't paid for it, I put it out on my own label, Nightmare Records, and had probably the biggest selling record on Nightmare. Carol, as outrageous as ever, I remember performing it on the Nightmare Night at Heaven in a wig that made Tina Turner's wig look small. I mean, she looked outrageous that night, but she was fabulous.
Through my association with Carol Gianni, when she left MCA Records, she made Turning My Back and Walking Away for Ian's Nightmare Records. It was by far the largest selling single on the label, and was actually my favourite. I loved that. At the time, Carol kind of thought she was Tina Turner, so the hair is big, the makeup is bigger, and Carol is bigger still.
I'm alone again. It's my own choice to be alone. I'm turning my back and all the pain. No one will ever make me feel this way. Do you know how long I had to sit here waiting on him? Those long, lonely nights. And you know what? One day I sat down and realized and said to myself, girl, I gotta get me some independence here. Cause this has gone on for too long, honey. You're cheating me, lying to me, squandering my money. You're nowhere to be found. And I just sit here spending those long, very long, lonely nights. Ooh, you make me so mad. I'm not gonna take anymore. I'm just gonna stand up and I'm gonna turn my back and just walk away. Cause you and I are through.
Back in the 80s, another diva to come from America was Jennifer Holliday. She had a hit record from Dreamgirls on Broadway, and then later was produced by Arthur Baker and did a track called No Frills Love, which became an anthem in the clubs. And in the 90s, Ian did a cover version with Tammy Levette, a young, aspiring talent from America.
We found a black 21-year-old female singer from New York called Tammy Levette. She had a great voice, and we decided to recreate a record called No Frills Love, which was originally recorded by Jennifer Holliday, who was the star of a great stage show, Dreamgirls. And so we took her in the studio and did this great high energy version of the song.
In Heaven, during the 1980s, there were lots of anthems that made people come rushing on the floor. After the success of So Many Men and High Energy, lots of other records started to become as big. Probably the biggest of the whole decade was Jennifer Holliday's No Frills Love. Jennifer had been the big fat singer from Dreamgirls who did the famous And I'm Telling You I'm Not Going, but her biggest record was No Frills Love by far, the biggest anthem at Heaven. Years later, I found this wonderful singer in New York, a girl called Tammy Levette, a little black girl who reminded me of Tammy Terrell, funnily enough. And I decided, I'd tried a few Northern Soul things, I decided it was time to take her in a high energy direction, and what better to do than to recut the classic Jennifer Holliday record. I think we got it pretty good. No Frills Love.
The legendary Motown producer Frank Wilson was in London for, I think, just for a day, and we managed to get him into the studio and get him to just sing along with the original recording of Janice, Don't Be So Blind to Love, which we then managed to take that vocal and recreate a new track around it. I know Frank Wilson was famous for having a single out years ago, which was at one point, I think, changing hands for about £15,000. And it was quite a thing to get him into the studio. I mean, he only had a few hours to go and do it. And we just got him in, got him to sing the song very quickly, and then recreated the track around it.
One of the legendary disco labels was Sal Soul Records, and I was DJing at Heaven. One of the last big Sal Soul records was a song by Skip Mahoney called Janice, Don't Be So Blind to Love. It was very, very hard to get, and people would pay £100 just to get hold of a copy because you just couldn't find it anywhere. Anyway, I always had it in mind to recut it, and years later, on the Northern Soul scene, I was working with Frank Wilson, who was a Motown producer who sold millions of records by the Supremes and people like that, and yet made his own solo record called Do I Love You, which had been scrapped by the owner of Motown, Berry Gordy. They destroyed all the records and only 2 survived, and one of those fetched £15,000, and all the newspapers reported how someone paid £15,000 for a record. Consequently, I persuaded Frank, who was an old friend of mine, to come into England, stay at my house and go and perform the song to the Northern Soul audience. And he performed this song to 2,500 people, the greatest response I've ever seen. While he was here, I said, Frank, let's go in the studio and do a song. And I said, I want to do this old song that we used to play at Heaven by Skip Mahoney called Janice, Don't Be So Blind to Love. Frank didn't know the song, so what we did is we put on the Skip Mahoney record and he just sang over it line by line. I just taught him each line. And then when he'd gone back to America, because he was only in England for one day, we took all the music out and just took his vocal and recreated a whole new high energy backing track around it.
I remember back in the late 70s and early 80s there was a track on Sal Soul that we all used to play by Skip Mahoney and the Casuals called Janice. And it was one of those songs that really lent itself well to a kind of a high energy remake. And one of the artists that Ian was working with that just was so suited vocally to a remake in that style was Frank Wilson. Now Frank was an artist in his own right for Motown, who, I don't know if many people know this, cut this record that is now worth £15,000, Do I Love You. Anyway, aside from that, he's got this great voice, and one of the high energy remakes that Ian did was this astounding cover version of Janice.
Evelyn Thomas's follow-up to the 7 million selling High Energy was a song called Masquerade, which, although a floor filler, the same as its predecessor, didn't quite make the same impact, and although it was a moderate hit, couldn't match up to the sales figures of High Energy.
Masquerade was the official follow-up to High Energy. At the time, Record Shack decided that they were going to make their first video, and took Evelyn into the studio and actually made a video for High Energy on the same day, plus another one for somebody else. It was a bit of a sausage factory affair. And while it records what went on at the time, this video wouldn't exactly win any awards today.
We were really in a bind because we'd sold 7 million records with High Energy and we didn't know what the hell to do with the follow-up. We kept trying to record things and maybe we did it too quickly, I don't know, but Masquerade was the favourite at the time, so we put it out. Unfortunately, High Energy sold 7 million. Masquerade scraped into the English charts at number 60. It was, because it had been so big in Germany, I think it was definitely a top 30 hit in Germany, but nowhere was it as big or as popular as High Energy. Now, should we have waited years for another follow-up, or should we have put it out? I don't know. Record Shack, flush with the success of High Energy, spent a lot of money on the video. They went in a proper video studio and did a proper video with Hot Gossip doing all the dancing and everything. And I thought the video looked a little bit cheesy for the money they spent on it, but I mean, it's still a wonderful piece of 80s kitsch.
Flushed with the success of a big hit with High Energy, we tried again with Evelyn Thomas and we did a track called Masquerade, which unfortunately was not a big hit. But anyway, here's the video, glittery dress and all.
I can't handle it if you're not there. I couldn't settle for less.
off those eyelashes. Go on, peel them off one by one. Take off that mascara. Go on and wipe it off. Take off that makeup. Wipe it away from your face. Take that wig off your head. Take it off. Take it all off. And be yours.